This is a special edition of the Four State Sports Report, Lamar's Run to the Championship. Sponsored by Midway Sheet Metal, Briggs of Fort Scott, Peerless Products, Four States Windows and More, Fast Eddie Hot Rod Shop, Crowder College, and Wood and Peterson Attorneys at Law.
Well, we'd like to welcome you into a look at Lamar football's run to the championship. I'm Mike Limame, joined by Lamar head coach Jared B. Shore. Coach, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and congrats again, of course, on that state title. We'll talk about the big game a little bit later, but I'm sure you've gone through all sorts of emotions so far this year. A great season, really from start to finish, just overall dominance. You guys outscoring opponents 542 to 167, so a lot of math there that goes into that. So what kind of goes into building such a high-quality product on the field?
You know, it's a culmination of a lot of things. You know, it starts with our kids. You know, we're going to try to build our kids up physically to be the best athletes that they can be. And you do that with, you know, in the weight room. You do that in the off season. You do that through workouts, and then, you know, and then it stems to coaching schemes. Our coaching staff, I believe, we truly believe we have one of the best staffs in the state of Missouri. So just putting our kids in the right position schematically, and you know, trying to put the best product on the field and find what our kids do best. So you got to build the player. It's the coach's job is to put them in great position to make plays, and then the rest takes care of itself.
All right, absolutely. Well, we're going to get right into the regular season here. You open things up against Marshfield. This is going all the way back. We're talking, Coach, August 25th. So this is pretty far back. So kind of tell me a little bit about, you know, your mindset here early on at this point in the season.
You know, going into week one, you know, we were really just trying to figure out what type of team we were. You know, I thought we played really well in that Marshfield game. Really got started off fast, you know, offensively and defensively. Had some kids in new spots. Wanted to see how they worked out, and they really performed well in that week one game.
You go on to close out the regular season 5-0, wins against East Newton, McDonald County, Nevada, Cassville, and Hollister. Nevada, they made a pretty good playoff run, and so did McDonald County. So these are good teams with solid offenses, and you shut out Nevada 14-0, hold the Mustangs to 21, and hang 41 over Cassville. So a lot of success, specifically when we talk about your defense. And we'll talk with Rourke a little bit later, Rourke Dillon, but just a lot of success with your defense.
Yeah, I mean, defense is where we hang our hat. It's been a staple of our program for a long time. Back when Coach Bailey, you know, was running the program, started the program, and built the program, it was all about defense. And so, you know, to win games in November and win championships, you got to be able to stop the run and run the football, and that all starts with stopping the run. So our defense did a great job this year. Our defensive coaching staff did a great job. Coach Wilk and Coach Bailey and Coach Long got our kids in the right position. So those kids knew exactly what to do. They played physical, and they executed when they were supposed to.
And you got Ian Googie, who you just saw on your screen, Chase Query, and Alex Wilkerson, quarterback, young man. So a lot to talk about on the offensive side as well. Just a lot of great performers.
Yeah, you know, we've been blessed to have some great athletes come through our program over the years, and this year was no different. We had some special athletes, Ian and Chase. You know, those are two dynamic guys on the edge that can do a lot of good things with the ball in their hands. And then you also couple that with a bunch of, you know, big physical, strong kids like Logan Kish, Cooper Hahn, Alex Wilkerson, Carson Sturgill. I mean, you name it. We got a bunch of them that have done their job and done their duty and helped us win football games.
Yeah, and a very strong group of kids at that. They, you know, very disciplined, which has been a key part of your program is discipline.
Yeah, I mean, that's football. If you're not a disciplined football team, you're going to lose off of penalties. You're going to lose off turnovers. The other team's going to be in a much better position than you to win the ball game. So you have to be disciplined. All 11 guys got to do their job on every play.
Absolutely, and you cap off the regular season with a 49-7 win over Hollister. That'd be your final game before state tournament play. Take me through your overall thoughts on the regular season from start to finish. What's kind of going through your head?
You know, it was a roller coaster ride. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know, we started fast and you know, did some really good things, but hit some bumps in the road. Had to play some really good teams: Logan Rogersville, Seneca, Mack County, Nevada, and then obviously our Big 8 schedule has always been tough. Had to deal with some injuries. Had kids in different spots than they usually are, and so, you know, we were really just trying to find ways to win football games there for a while. But you know, by the end, we got some of our guys back off injury. We got guys put in the correct spots to make plays, and that's on offense and defense. And so by the end of week 9, we were feeling pretty good at where we were at.
All right. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the postseason and Lamar finally getting back to the state title game. That's up next. We welcome you back to Lamar's run to the championship. Mike Limami again, joined by head coach Jared Beshore. Good to be with you here, Coach. Let's talk a little bit of postseason ball here. You're 8-1 at this point. A lot of experience between these young men when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we've been very blessed with our kids to play, in the state title game the last 3 years. So our kids know how to practice and, prepare in November. And I think that's, something that, you can be used really as a positive a lot, but it also can be a negative if your kids don't take advantage of it. And I've been saying that all year long, is experience is a good thing if used correctly. So we really preaching to our kids on make sure that we're preparing the correct way. Do not make same mistakes that we made in years past, whether it's, with nutrition or hydration, whatever it may be, prepare correctly the whole time. Use our past experiences for good moving forward.
I gotcha. And let's get into those highlights. So you've got Diamond, Adrian, Lafayette County, and Bowling Green. Those games, of course, all wins, and by 3 scores essentially or more. Lafayette County was particularly impressive. 12-1 team, you beat 41-7. So what are some of the unique challenges of these teams in postseason play, and how'd you overcome them?
We played 3 really tough opponents throughout that playoff run, starting with, I think, the one that doesn't get enough credit for is the Adrian team that we beat in the district championship game. And it's been a while since we've had a really hard-fought matchup in the district championship game. Adrian played in the Class 1 state title game a year ago, and they came in and gave us everything we wanted. A really well-coached team, physical, big, athletic, and it took everything we had to beat them. And they were state-ranked and undefeated at the time. Same thing with Lafayette County. Same thing with our semifinal matchup as well versus Bowling Green. So, we just took it game by game. You have to have the mentality of earn 7 more days of football when it comes to November. You can't worry about the next round. You can't worry about 2 rounds from now. You have to take care of business that week. And so our kids took it a day by day. We got to win today. We got to win this week to get 7 more days of football.
And Alex Wilkerson, who we'll chat about even more. This young man, he just goes off when it comes to big games, essentially. 4 touchdowns in that Lafayette County win. What he does with his arm, he can easily do as well with his legs. A tremendous all-around talent when it comes to finding the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret, he's a talented young man. He's a dynamic player that we've had, and we've had a lot of good ones at the quarterback position as of late, but Alex has one of the best arms we've ever seen at Lamar, and gets to showcase it. Everyone knows we like to run the football, but when you have a kid back there that can sling it like that, you want to take advantage. And he's also a big physical kid that is strong and runs well, and so we take advantage of it as much as we can. He had a heck of a run there in the playoffs, and you have to rely on your big-time players to make big-time plays in those games. Otherwise, who's going to make them for you? So he stepped up, and he had a great November.
He's just a junior, correct? He's got 1 more year to go, so we'll look forward to seeing his progress, of course, next year, too. Still
Absolutely.
Growing. A lot of these kids have been with you a long time. You a Lamar grad yourself. You went off to play D1 ball at Missouri State. When you were a Tiger yourself, this team was, in parts of a rebuilding phase a little bit. So how do you keep these kids leveled with the kind of success they have, and what lessons did you learn passing on to them?
I think probably the biggest thing that our kids, that we try to teach them, as we go through these playoff runs and a lot of this success and notoriety, is that it didn't used to always be like that. And when I was coming through the program, it was starting to build. It was starting to get where we wanted to go. But you got to remember those that came before you and appreciate what they did to kind of pave the way for our team. One of our seniors used the quote, the old quote that tough times create strong men create easy times, and easy times create weak men. And so we try to always remember those strong men that came before us that got us out of the tough times and made it easier for these guys. And so we got to always make sure that we have our program understand that the tree can fall way faster than it grew. And if we can always have that mentality and kind of not take the success for granted, that there's a good chance the success can continue.
It did continue this year, and we'll hear from some of the players with our Chaz Wright, who has more from Lamar High School, the team up next.
Well, everyone, welcome back to the Lamar State Championship Coaches Show. I'm Chaz Wright, and I'm joined by a couple of players now, Alex Wilkerson and Chase Query. We're going to talk to them a little bit about the state championship game. Now, guys, hoisting up that state championship trophy, just what was that feeling like?
It was just awesome. It's something we worked for all year. It's something that Coach Bishor's preached in spring when we're in the weight room that, every day we're just working to put a number up on that board.
It's just incredible to see our progress through the season and what we've had to go through during the season, and finally getting to that end goal that we've been chasing for the last 2 or 3 years, not getting it last year, the year before that, and just to be able to do that with all of these seniors is incredible.
And, talk about that state championship game. You guys kind of started a little bit slow offensively. What was kind of the talk from Coach that you guys really started to pick it up offensively?
We just had to take it one play at a time. We had to trust each other, believe. Just because we were down 20-0, we couldn't hang our heads. We just had to keep believing in each other and just make the next play.
We faced adversity all through our season, and going in that and being down 21-0 is nothing light, but for us, we've been fighting since day one, and we trust our coaches, and they made some adjustments, and we just won't.
Chase, talk about your game. It seems like you were putting up Randy Moss-like numbers, 3 catches for 163 yards, 2 touchdowns, including that big, touchdown coming out of the half. Just kind of what were you really seeing on those 2 touchdowns, and especially that long 90-yard touchdown to tie the game up late in the game?
Well, I just saw that we needed to make a play, and whenever I saw that my number was called, I just told myself, I got to go make this play, and I got it done.
And then, Alex, you had 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, over 217 total yards. It seems like, when the game needed a big play from you, you stepped up and made it, including that late interception late in the game. But, offensively, just how did you really answer the call? How did you really kind of step up in the moment as the leader of this team?
I just trusted my guys. I knew they were going to get their blocks, and I knew he was going to get open, and I just had to get him the ball. Coach Bishor always preaches get the fast kids the ball and let them run, and that's what I was just trying to do.
Especially in overtime, you guys started out with the ball. First play of the game, you go and score on that 25-yard touchdown. Just, what did you see on that run that your offensive line opened the hole for you?
Oh, yeah, when I saw that hole, it was like I could run a truck through it. And all I saw was the end zone, and I knew I had to get in there.
And then, Chase, you guys really kind of turned the heat up on, especially in the second half of the season offensively, And, Alex, you suffered an injury earlier in the season. So how did you guys really have to rally together, around each other, even though you guys had lost your starting quarterback?
We had to make a ton of adjustments. We had to have a running back come in and play quarterback. I had to move to running back. So it still goes back to just trust, the next man up mentality. One man goes down, next man up.
And my last question to you two, just to be able to end this season with the state championship after, what had happened last season, just how special was that to bring the 9th state title back to Lamar?
It's just very special, because previous 2 years we've lost in the state title, so we didn't want to put a number on the right side of the board with the runners up side. We wanted to put it on the left with the state champs.
Yeah, going into that game, we knew that we would have to finish business this year, and just to be a part of this program and be a part of this history is incredible, and to do that with all these seniors and my dad.
Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for joining us on the show. And once again, congrats. But that's going to do it for this offensive segment. Next up, we're going to bring on some defensive players. All that coming up next on the Lamar State Coaches Show. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Lamar State Championship Coaches Show. I'm Chaz Wright. We had the offensive players, now we have the defensive players. We're joined by defensive players Kyler Nance and Roar Cadillon. Guys, being able to win that state championship trophy, just what was that feeling like?
Well, it was really difficult at the start, and just being able to make a comeback like that, really exhausted, but being able to see my brothers, all my seniors I've been with all throughout every year in school, it was a great feeling since freshman year. We got to feel it a little bit, but it was the best feeling I felt in a long time.
Our freshman year, of course, we got that first place, and our sophomore and junior year coming out on second place. And our senior year, of course, going out there and down 21 points and then coming back, we were grateful. Meant a lot. Definitely a game to remember.
It seemed like all season your guys' defense was really, kind of dominant, especially in the playoffs. You guys really held your opponents to only 7, 14, 15 points. And, just kind of what was really the key throughout the season for you guys to have such a really good defense?
I'd say Coach Wilk, Coach Wilkerson, just being able to put us in the right spots at the right time, knowing everyone just buying into what he's saying and reading your key and flying to the football.
Yeah, so we never second-guessed Coach Wilk or Coach Bailey. We've always put in our time and our respect towards those guys. And so whatever they said, what we had to do, we did, no matter what the cost was.
Kyler, in that state championship game, you guys started off a little bit slow and defensively. Just what was kind of the message from Coach Wilkerson and Coach Beshore to kind of, just settle you guys down a little bit?
Yeah, it was kind of our motto throughout the entire season, but it really came into light there in the last state game. So I would say it was just make them snap the ball one more time. Just make them play one more down and go out there and fight, try your hardest.
And then Rourke, especially in that second half, you guys really amped up your defense, forcing turnovers, getting a few sacks, getting some tackles for loss, just talking about that defensive line, with you, Mario, and Trace, and, just it seemed like you guys were really able to stop their run game pretty much the entire game. So, what was really the keys for you guys to kind of make them one-dimensional?
Definitely the energy we had, us always picking each other up no matter what, always talking to our linebackers and everybody, just making sure the energy was there. And no matter how bad we did that play, we'll get back up to another play. So just putting it behind us and just being able to go out there and give it all we had.
When you're little, this is the type of thing you talk about, like, hey, I want to win state. This is what we want to do. So, being able to call yourselves state champions, being seniors, saying, hey, this one's ours. It's different than from your freshman year, being able to say, hey, we went out, we did this thing. Just how awesome is that?
Well, so past couple years, I got a bunch of buddies on those teams, one of them being my brother. And I always joke with them, I'm like, how does it feel that you lost your senior year, but I won mine? Just joking around with them. But, of course, they're all great guys, great ball players, and it just means everything to us. We never really saw it coming, but it's all glory to God, man.
Yeah, I remember getting back to our locker room and picking up my phone, and all the past seniors texted me saying, you guys well deserved that win, and us going out there and just being able to succeed our goal, it just means a lot.
Well, we want to thank you guys for joining us on our Lamar State Championship Coach Show. Now, coming up next, we're going to bring on Coach Beshore with Michael, and they're going to talk about that state championship game coming up next.
We welcome you back to a special edition of the 4-State Sports Report, Lamar's run to the championship. Coach, good to be with you again. Let's talk about the big game here. Just so much emotion up going into it. How are you feeling right now on that bus?
The ride to the state title game, it's a one that you do a lot of thinking on. You try not to overthink things, but really the biggest thing is trying to dial in the focus. What do you have to do? What do you have to do to put our team in the best position possible for our players? What are their jobs that they need to be focused on? And it really is nothing more than that. You don't have to worry about making big plays or making the big time sack, the big time touchdown. It's just, can you do your job on every single play? And we're trying to, at that point in time, just put our kids in the best position possible, make sure they understand when we get off the bus, the routine of the state game, which is much different than any other Friday or Saturday night game. So just trying to take it one step at a time and just do your job in the pregame, during the game, and then obviously post-game as well.
All right, well, let's get into those state championship highlights. One thing I want to bring up here, Coach, as you can see, they're hitting the Tiger there as they're entering the field. This game goes into overtime, and you guys, of course, win at 35-28. But one thing that I found interesting, you guys were down 21-0 at the start within the second quarter, and then you come all the way back to tie the game. What type of kids does it take to build that strength to make that comeback?
Well, I mean, if you've been around our team at all season long, talked to us, seen us in the newspapers, the one constant about this team that we always talk about is the adversity that we faced. And there's a bunch of adversities that we went through this year. We don't have time to talk about them all, but the one thing that it showed was that this team is extremely resilient and overcoming. They've never panicked in any state of situation that they were in, whatever it may be. And so you go down 21-0 in the state title game, and you know, everyone's kind of probably looking around saying, well, where's the panic at? Well, I was looking around and I didn't see any panic out of our kids. I saw our leaders starting to step up and just going one play at a time, trying to claw back into it. And you know, the results you got to see for yourself, but you know, at that time of being down 21-0, it was definitely our kids just trying to chip away at the lead.
All right, well, congratulations again, Coach. You see a little bit of those highlights from the game. Thank you so much for joining us today on this afternoon. I know that you're very busy yourself, but we appreciate you coming along.
Yep, absolutely. Again. Thanks for having me.
All right, and that'll do it for your special edition of the 4-State Sports Report. Lamar's run to the championship, Class 2 state champions, 9th in team history.
Lamar's run to the championship was sponsored by Midway Sheet Metal, Briggs of Fort Scott, Peerless Products, 4 States Windows and More, Fast Eddie Hot Rod Shop, Crowder College, and Wood & Peterson Attorneys at Law.